Oh, how's it going? So yeah, I hope you're all right. Last couple of days I've been working a lot on music and songwriting. I've kind of set this up a little differently. I've kind of started to Velcro pedals that I've used for those synthesizers onto the actual synthesizers, so they're all in one place. Because pedals, if you aren't into using pedals with your synths yet, you should try it. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't, and they're very cheap actually. Like, you can pick up, like I was speaking on the live stream, this Mosky, which is actually free PT2399 delay chips to make a really cool spring reverb sound. It's only £20, £19 I think you buy it. So like, there's loads of cheap like Chinese rip-offs, and they're not that bad. I actually bought another one today, which is a digital reverb, which is kind of like a rip-off of the Strymon Big Sky. And to be honest, like, I don't know, what's the point? I mean, if it's cheap, it's probably not as fidelity-ic, but who cares? It's got its own sound, and there's lots of fun to be had. So yeah. Oh, and also another one that I found quite interesting is this Eno Octaver, another one that's only £20. And basically what it is it adds a sub oscillator, it tries to add a higher oscillator, and it adds a double sub oscillator, yeah, 2 octaves down. But it makes it sound really cool. It makes the mono synth sound like an organ. So yeah, if you want an easy way of adding an oscillator, a lower oscillator, like a sub octave, then try that. So I was thinking, whilst I was setting this up the last couple of days, is I'm going to do some videos on like more on the setup sides of things, because I just think it might be an interesting thing to touch on. For example, this thing, I might do a video on this, because I think it's quite interesting having, you know, sorting your outboard and everything that is plugged into it. Like, I've got this really big thick cable that's got 8 cores in it, and this wire rolls off into the synthesizer, and it's got labels of different bits, like this is bass, and I plug that in there, and then all of it gets plugged into that, and it's already all mixed, which is pretty handy. And then there's also, you know, a handful more where you can plug in other things. But yeah, I digress. This keyboard right here, I think will be an interesting thing to touch on as well, because it's something that I've been thinking about, and I think it's quite useful. Is this controller keyboard's broken, so I'm going to use it as a thing for a project. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a video, but it'll probably be a Patreon only one, and just a really useful MIDI keyboard, which you can switch all of the channels with one knob, so you're able to run through the channels, which run, for me it's useful because then I can run into all the different channels on these beat steps and sequence different synthesizers with one controller keyboard, with a really easy way of changing the MIDI channels. I think it's going to be very useful, and I'll share the code and stuff and the stripboard layout and stuff. But yeah, also an update, I've been banging my head like each evening trying to simplify to the max and make it as straightforward as possible the MS-20 filter, the Rene Schmidt's LM13700 MS-20 filter, which is actually the only filters that I've got in here, the ones that I use all the time. But I just like the current stripboard layouts and schematics and stuff aren't super straightforward, so that's what I'm trying to do the video this weekend, is a very simple, you know, like the oscillator, but the filter, that's a step up. And also I've been doing a lot of thinking about the Game Boy machine. I'm finally getting the cartridges for all of the Game Boys. They're going to be turning up in 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll finally start building it. But it made me realise that there's a lot of interesting modules and designs that are required to make it work that I'll actually be doing videos on. So I'm going to be doing it bit by bit, and there's actually a load of loads of modules that I think might be interesting. Like there's this one that I require a polyphonic 6-voice envelope generator that's 2 envelope generators. So basically it's going to be 12 digital envelope generators. So it's like 12 chips that I found. They're from Electric Druid, and basically they're copied from the same chips that are in like polysynths. I guess there might be even Curtis chips, but so it's digital envelope generators, but they're all going to be controlled by the same knobs, but selectable, so they are the same, but all behind the same module. That's going to be one of the early designs, and then there's going to be a polyphonic filter, so there'll be 6 filters in one behind one knob, and stuff like that. There's lots of effects and stuff in there, which I'll be designing all and sharing all of the schematics and doing videos as it goes and it's built. But yeah, so I guess hopefully in the next couple of days you'll see some simplified strip board layouts for this filter. I think it's going to be only low pass at the minute, because I think you can simplify it even more for a high pass, but there's actually a different design I use for a high pass that I think is more like a shelving thing. So it's got a high and it's got a like brilliance, which actually brings some of the low back in. So it's like a shelf, but it's not a band pass because it's got 2 knobs. You can choose the bottom and the top. I think it's pretty interesting. And that's actually the schematic for that. The strip board for that is already actually in on the Patreon. I'll find it and I'll bring it back up again. But I'm gonna do that schematic, but I'm gonna do it like 10 times over. So it means that you can tune 10 different like bands of however fat you want, with, you know, coming out of the same oscillator, so you can tune and hone in on all of the different frequencies. And it will have loads of Vactrols in it, passive Vactrols, which will be able to make you, you know, you're able to control voltage, everything. But yeah, it's just one of those plans. And then also before, in the next month, I'm going to try and do the project which I turn these ones, I mean, not damage them, not ruin them, but have wires coming out the back into a mixer underneath, which means I can actually turn it into a multi-band filter, you know, like the so like the tuned resonant filter, the Moog, you know, the one with all the knobs, the Moog one. So hopefully all that all makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that's hopefully, yeah. Next time you see me, hopefully I've got some strip boards for some filters and a video soon following. But yeah. Oh, and also I did some jams the other day that I'm going to be sharing the stems. It's quite cool. Patreon on the Patreon. So yeah, and thank you very much, and speak soon. Bye. Oh no.